Ladies and gentlemen, Wilko Johnson. Well, good to see you, Wilko. Yeah. So we're talking about a minute ago. You were talking about BC. What is the BC?
As the pretext for this gathering is this wonderful book.
Written by Zoe Howe.
Zoe Howe, in fact, wrote the book. And I was just saying that this book is what I call a BC, which is before cancer. This was, what was it, last year we put this together? Yeah. I'm now kind of actually on borrowed time. I was diagnosed with cancer in January. They told me I had 10 months to live. I've done that, and I'm still okay. So, but I am on borrowed time. You know, this yes, the cancer, right? And this idea of imminent death, it gives you a different way of looking at everything. Really, it's quite a kick in many ways, and it's a different life now from this. But anyway, this is my life BC.
So when you say it's different, how different is it? Is it fine-tuned? Is it like make every minute feel like it's important?
Well, I must say that when I got this diagnosis, which was actually just before New Year, I wasn't expecting it. I'd been in for some checkups and whatnot in the hospital. And one day went into the hospital, went into a room with this doctor. I had my son with me and my manager. And the guy, he was quite, I don't know if the guy was skillful at doing this or what, but he had a pad in front of him, he got his biro and he's going, yes sir, yes, you've got this mass on your stomach. And he's kind of drawing pictures of it with his biro. And he's going, and then he said, unfortunately we can't operate on this. And that was like the first hint. And I went, yeah. And he went, you've got cancer. And I felt absolutely calm. My son cracked up a bit, but I felt absolutely calm, as if he was telling me something I'd known all my life. And we were there for a short while, and then when I walking out of the hospital, I felt this absolute elation. I looked up, see the sky and the trees and that, and I felt so high. I felt so alive. And yeah, I think euphoria is a fair word for it. This lasted a couple of months. I mean, actually I'm a miserable farm, so. And but this, I don't know, it was somehow liberating. I don't know. It just makes you look at everything different. Like I say, it just suddenly makes you feel very, very alive. You know, God, I exist. I'm alive. You know, and realising the things that like the sky and the trees and whatnot are very important, and the things. The things that normally occupy your mind, you know, miserable everyday things, and worry, I mean, for instance, worrying about the future. I mean, when you know you haven't got any future, you don't have to worry about that anymore. Yeah, I was in this state for quite some time, and I think, in fact, this has been an extraordinary year for me, living with this thing. I've now got to readjust my consciousness. I accepted the idea. It's pancreatic cancer, it's incurable, and I decided it was quite an easy decision not to have any chemotherapy or anything. So I feel absolutely fine, apart from this lump here. Lump, piss off lump. But I just. They told me that if I had chemotherapy, they told me I had 10 months to live. If I had chemotherapy, maybe they could give me a couple more months. So that sounds like a real bad deal, because everybody knows that chemotherapy really messes you up. And I could have had this year of suffering illness. And I said, oh, sort of, I don't want to lose my hair, And so I'm not having treatment, and I just adjusted. I thought the way to deal with it was, many people talk about. I remember seeing this cartoon once in Private Eye, and there's a doctor talking to some fellow, his patient, and the doctor is saying, "You've got a brave fight against cancer." And I thought, yeah, right. I'm not going to have a brave fight against the cancer. The thing to do is accept it. It is the end of my life, and to just make the most of what remains. First thing I did was I went out to Japan, because Japan is a place I love very much, and went out there for a couple of weeks. We were doing things like going to Kyoto, which is a very, very beautiful place. Being up in the mountains there at this monastery one day, and standing and looking over the roofs of the monastery, and these huge ancient trees, and there was this snow falling, and the sun was shining through the snow, and it was like golden. And I'm looking at it thinking, wow. And it's something that, like, normally you would be thinking, I want to try and register this in my mind, so I want to remember this, how beautiful this is. But I thought, I won't be remembering it, because I won't be here, and what you have to do is just dig it while it's happening. And I've been kind of along like that. So here we are, BC, and this book to talk about BC, right? Now I'm somewhere else.
You said to me last time I spoke to you, you actually retired for a couple of weeks, but then you just got too bored and you went back out the road again.
Well, this was it. We were wondering what to do. I said to the doctors, how long can I expect to feel healthy before this illness starts to cut me down? They said, well, a few months. So we organised a farewell tour in April, which did. It went very, very well, and I thought, well, that's it. I've done it now. I've done my farewell tour, and I retired. But I didn't like that. I didn't like it. You start walking down the street, and you think, what am I? What do I do? You think, I don't know. I didn't like this retired business. So I went back to Japan, had another little think about it, and then the summer was upon us, and so I started doing festivals and things. And I can remember that, particularly during the Fuji Rock Festival, it was a very massive festival in August. And I'll tell you, when we arrived in Japan, it was raining. It was raining so hard that apparently the insurers were going to pull the plug on the festival, because they were frightened about all these people up in the mountains and all this thunder and lightning and that. But they managed to keep going. It was raining and raining, and when we came out for our set on the main stage, the clouds parted and the sun came out, and I mean, you couldn't go wrong. I must say we lived up to it, and playing an absolutely great gig, and playing this great gig, looking out, and also with the consciousness, this might be the last time you ever, last one you ever do. I'll tell you what, that's quite a kick. So,
to me, it always seemed like you played every gig like it's elastic. You were always walking the tightrope.
Well, you know, yes, probably a little bit of that kind. I mean, some of them almost have been.
So Zoe, when you did the book, because obviously you're connected because your husband plays drums with Wilko, and is that because of that connection, the proximity, was that why the book idea came about?
Yeah, partly, definitely. I think because I remember when Oil City Confidential, the incredible film about Dr. Feelgood, came out, and we all went down to see it at the ICA and the South Bank, and obviously I knew, you know, Wilko was in my life already, and I knew, you know, the blockheads and all that. That was sort of already in my life, and I knew about Dr. Feelgood. But seeing that film and how it was made, and just how I think Julian Temple was the perfect person to make it. It was just so energetic, and even though obviously I wasn't there at the time, and I can't really ever get a sense of what it must have been like to actually see you play live at that time, but you know, it really did impart an incredible energy. It was so incendiary that I just thought, this is, you know, it really did spark a kind of, let's do more, you know, maybe, you know, I knew that there would be a book in, you know, in Wilko, an incredible book, but what was really great was that we went down quite an unconventional route, which I think is the only way you can approach a book about Wilko. You can't do it in a conventional way, no way. So we spoke to Cadiz, who made the film, with Julian, and said, well, you know, do you fancy making a book? And they said, well, we've never made a book before, but we made a film, we can make a book. So because of that, we had the freedom to very much tailor it to, you know, hopefully it comes across in quite an unusual way, and to really reflect the different facets of Wilko's personalities and his interests in a way that maybe we might not have had the freedom to do with a conventional publisher, perhaps.
I mean, with the book and the film, Wilko, was it quite odd to look back on your life? Because I don't imagine you're the kind of guy who looks back very much.
Retrospection. No, I don't really. I think that this book is quite satisfying. So the way that Zoe's done it is, well, basically what happens, she will come round my house and she'll be interviewing me, but I'm just rabbiting on about me. He's talking about me, you know, and rummaging through my photographs and things and putting the book. So the book is in a kind of like a scrapbook. It's in chunks. And in no kind of set order, and really quite like what really happens actually if you look back on your life. You don't look at it like I was born and so on and so on. It's just it's all in chunks, and you know, the kind of feedback I've had about the book is that people have enjoyed that, because you can actually open it anywhere and just read it. It's just in bits and pieces, and yeah, you see.
The feeling was as well that, you know, to make it like a conversation, to make it like you were sitting down with Wilko of an evening, and you know, conversations aren't chronological, are they? They do jump around, and they are kind of, they can be scattergun, and you know, you cover a lot of different things, and so I think that was a really nice thing to have the freedom to sort of, as you say, in that kind of scrapbooky, collagey way, kind of have this, you know, you've got a thread there and a narrative, but it is a dipper as well, and you've got all the images that, you know, thankfully Wilko had never sort of thrown anything away, so we were really lucky. There's like school reports in there and all sorts of things.
So when you're looking back, was there a lot of what ifs? You know, what if you hadn't left the field course?
That is something that I've never really indulged in, and people have asked me that, you know, like, well, people say to me, you know, now, is there anything you regret? And you know, I have to say no, because you know, things happen the way they happen. You know, I could say, well, it's a shame that Dr. Feelgood broke up when it did, right on the edge of really something happening. But that's what happened, and I've never really organised my life or followed any set course. I'm like a river.
I mean, and I remember once you were telling about your amazing guitar style, which is so influential for my generation, like kids, as we were at the time. I mean, if you could tell us a bit about that, how you came from, I mean, it's obviously you took it from Big Green, but you took it somewhere else.
Yeah, well, the way I play the guitar, as you say, I mean, really, I started learning to play the guitar simply because one day, when I was about 14, one day at school, I saw an electric guitar, somebody had an electric guitar. And I didn't know anything about music or anything then. This is in the early 60s. But I was absolutely fascinated by this thing, and I decided I really wanted one. And I pestered my mum. Probably had to combine a couple of birthdays and a Christmas or something, and got my first guitar. And actually I'm left-handed, and I started off playing it this way around. I was absolutely useless. Everyone at school could play better than me. And after a while I got an opportunity to buy a slightly better guitar. It was a right-handed one, so I thought, right, what I'm going to do is I'm going to teach myself to play right-handed. And that's that way.
I can see the difficulty when you were learning.
No, but I mean, believe me, it's tough to do this thing. It's like trying to throw a ball with your wrong hand, you know. It's just hard to do. It goes, I mean, like just picking the thing up is like this. And anyway, I also, being adolescent and that, I didn't like the idea of playing the wrong way round from everybody else. This was in the days before Jimi Hendrix and just after Paul McCartney. But I thought, well, it's not groovy enough. I want to play right-handed like everyone else. And while I was struggling with this and learning to play right-handed, I did actually start to learn to play. And that was when I heard a Johnny Kidd and the Pirates record with the guitar of Mick Green, and it just galvanised me. I thought, man, I just want to play like this, and spent my time trying to copy him.
You said you slowed the records down, is that what you did?
Yeah, I mean, there was very little opportunity then to, there was, for one thing, there's very little rock music on the radio, anywhere, you know, and I coming from such a humble background, Canby Island, I could never go and see live gigs really, and trying to work out how Mick Green did this thing. Yeah, you put a single on and play it at 33 RPM, and how's that happening, you know, and trying to work it out like that. Getting it all wrong, and ended up with my own style.
Yeah, and what a style, the rhythm lead thing, it's so legendary. Well, I guess if you do it just, it's how you play it, but...
This is the thing that I really got from Greenie, was, and the thing that initially really got me, that there wasn't, in Johnny Kidd and the Pirates, there wasn't a lead guitar and a rhythm guitar, just Mick Green doing both. And the thing is that, and the important thing is, it's rhythm guitar. It's based on rhythm guitar, and the lead bits are just the icing on the cake, really. But it's the rhythm, and that's what my style is.
Which was so key to what Dr. Phil sound was. It was the driving sound.
Yeah.
So you learned guitar there in Canby Island, but then you went to India for a few months or something?
Yeah, well,
because I've always been interested in, there's like a little hippie period in your life.
Oh yeah. Well, I went in 1967, I think. I went to university, and I stopped playing. Actually, I did. I remember at the time, White a Shade of Pale was a big hit, and in fact, the Procol Harum were originally a South End band. They were called the Paramounts, and I slightly knew them. Robin Trout, the guitarist, I knew him a little bit. And we went to university at the Freshers' Ball. Who was playing but Procol Harum? And it was at the Bayfield Ballroom in Newcastle. And I remember this kind of revolving stage there. And the bands would start and their bands would revolve around and start playing. And the evening progressed, and then the stars of the show were Procol Harum, come on. They come round, and I'm standing there, and Robb he saw me standing, he went, and I went, hello, and I was made up, because I'm, and then I thought, well, I'll try and get a band. I did take my guitar with me that first term, and so I put a pinned a postcard on the notice board saying guitarist seeks band, and I put guitarist, and then in brackets an ex-associate of Procol Harum. And to see if I could find a band. I get not one reply. So I took my guitar back with me at the end of the term, slid it under the bed, and there it stayed for 4 years. When I graduated, and during the late 60s, and of course we were all growing our hair long and getting stoned, and the hippie trail was happening, so I took the hippie trail to Kathmandu, and God, that was great. And came back thinking then, oh blimey, now it's own up time now, I've got to get a proper job. And my mum managed to find me a place as a school teacher at a local comprehensive. And I think on the same day I got this teaching job, I bumped into Lee Brillo on the street. And Lee was 4 or 5 years younger than me, but I knew him from before. And he was a solicitor's clerk, but he was 19 at that time, I think, 18 or 19. And I'm walking on the road, and Lee's coming towards me. Man, he was wearing a pinstripe, 3-piece suit, and he had these sideboards, and I mean, I'm still a hippie, you know. And I thought, he looked mean. And we start talking, he's telling me, yeah, he's got this band, and their guitar player's just left. And I think, I still got my guitar, you know, and I'm thinking, why don't he ask me to play, right? But I didn't say anything to him, and he didn't say, we were talking about 20 minutes, and no one said anything about this band, and then later on that evening, there was a knock on the door, and it was John Sparks, the bass player. No, and he said, do you want to join our band? And I said, yes. And that was how Dr. Phil was started.
So did you have to relearn your guitar you had played for 4 years?
It's not a lot to relearn. I still remember the 3 chords.
And was it pretty well fully forward? You went to the first rehearsal and it all just went to place straight away?
Yeah, I remember that this was 1972, and I don't know what kind of music, what would they call it? Progressive music, was it? Something. But we were interested in this blues, rhythm and blues and stuff. And we thought what we would do would be, if we learned some pop songs, stuff from the charts or something, we would get some gigs. And we went to our first rehearsal in somebody's front room, and I believe put this little Walter album on. And as soon as I heard it, I went, oh, some of this pop stuff, let's just play this stuff. So we went, yeah, so we took this unfashionable...
What pop stuff were you going to learn?
I've really no idea.
I can't really imagine it.
No, absolutely no idea. But we didn't learn, we just said, sod it, we'll just play, we're going to play this stuff, and that's what we played.